Hey all, welcome to the Marketing Storyteller. Now, who is Marketing Storyteller? He's a friend of yours who will help you understand the concepts of marketing through stories. Today, we are here to help you understand the meaning of marketing through a story. And the story is about a deodorant brand which transformed the industry. All right, our story dates back to 2010. Now, during 2010, buying a deodorant would have been a very easy decision, particularly for men. How would the process normally be? A typical person will walk to a store, it can be a supermarket or any similar store, and he will pick up one of the variants of Axe deodorant. Now, Axe deodorant, is owned by Hindustan Unilever, who is a market leader in consumer products industry in India. Now, why is it that everyone will go out and pick up an Axe deodorant, or most of them will go and pick up an Axe deodorant? It is not that there were no other products selling deodorant, rather, there were nobody who were making an impact that Axe was making. Now, what impact are we talking about? The numbers will tell you. Right from its launch, India launch in 99 till 2009, which is a decade, Axe was enjoying what is called 25% market share in a fast growing deodorant market. Now, what does this 25% market share mean? It means that when there is a total sale for 100 rupees in deodorant market, 25 rupees will come to Axe. Now, are we talking about how Axe got there? Is this story about the interesting journey of Axe into this leadership position? No. The story is going to be about a much smaller brand that managed to displace Axe from its leadership position. This brand that was ruling the game can also be called as one among the most sexist brands that India have ever seen. Now, what was the promise? The promise, they say, was Axe will work for men as a magnet for attracting women. Now, there were other competitors, they were looking up and they were looking at Axe and saying, now this formula is working for Axe, so why not it work for me also? So what did? They came with Me Too promises. They came with very similar promises. This is a very critical point of this lecture. Now, just imagine if you have been a customer of Axe. You've been buying this product for quite some time now. You're happy with it. I mean, you are fine. You don't see any problem with that. If that is the case, why should you switch from Axe into any other brand that is available then? Because all of them are offering you very, very similar promises, all right? And their prices are very close to what is called Axe. Why should you ever quit? And this is the reason why the other players, the second largest player would have got a market share of 9%, 8%, etc. Now, it was very surprising that despite this being a very, very competitive market, a growing market, you don't have too many players who were seriously thinking about how do I get past Axe. They would have been thinking, but then for some reason they weren't able to make an impact which is even close to being what Axe was doing. Uh, they were probably thinking that this is a large company, so that is the reason why they are there, or they might have their own excuses, but then a proper competition never came. Yes, not too many people bothered till 2010, and then there was a twist in the story. There was this company which not too many people would have heard of called Vinny Cosmetics. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad company, it's a very good company, but it is not a close match to HUL. You cannot keep these things together in terms of scale, in terms of size, etc. Now, Vinny had already tried a different product in the industry called 18 Plus, which again was a Me Too brand. It didn't work. So they thought it's time we change. Let's think of something which will click. Let's try to understand the customer. Now, how do I understand the customer? The answer is simple. Let's ask him. So they decided to initiate a research program, which is to go down to the market, ask customers different questions. different questions about the brand that they are presently using. The questions included things like how satisfied are you with the price of the brand that you're using presently? How satisfied are you with the fragrance, with the quality, etc., etc. Now, what had happened for all of these questions, the customers seemed to be happy. I mean, they were either satisfied or very satisfied with all of these things. But there was one critical question which tried to sort or find out what he didn't like about it. And the customer said, there is a lot of waste when applied. This answer, mind you, was a beginning of a transformation. This answer that the customers told Vinny, or rather I'll call it this problem that the customers told Vinny, started off what was called a transformation of the industry. The industry was set to change because of Vinny's response to this particular problem. Now, why does a marketer exist? He is there to solve a problem of the customer. That's when he is successful. Now, with this critical input, Vinny went back indoors. Their research team would have probably discussed on this, and they would have thought, number one, on what is this problem that the customer is talking about. There is a lot of waste. Means what? It can be two things. Number one, the spray doesn't linger to your body much, which means that the fragrance doesn't stay. And the second point might be that number of sprays aren't sufficient. And this led to the birth of fog deodorant. Fog Deo is the hero in our story today. What we are going to hear about is on how did they establish themselves. This is just the starting point. Having understood the problem, it is time now to look for a solution. And they looked closely into all the existing deodorant brands and identified that all of them are gas-based. Now, this might be a reason why customers are feeling that there is a lot of wastage. So what is a possible solution? A possible solution would be a liquid-based deodorant. And this was the solution that they identified. Now, that is a great start. You have a wonderful product in hand now. But does it end there? No. The next task in hand is to convince the customer that this is actually a solution to a problem that you were talking about, and the problem was of waste. Now, there are two requirements here. Number one is the core requirement of fragrance. It has to be there. Second, you need to tell him that this is not going to be wasted. And hence, he spoke about two things. Number one, he said this is a product which gives you great fragrance, and two, it doesn't have gas. And he used all the channels. He used television, he used print media, and it was visible everywhere. Now, here is a great product, and you have actually managed to convince the customer. And what would a convinced customer do? He would want to buy this product. And where will he go to buy this product? He will probably go to the same supermarket or the same store where he had bought the Axe or whatever product that he was using from. Which means that fog had to be present in every store which sells deodorants, because that is where the customer is likely to go and search for him. So this is the third very important function of marketing, which is to deliver the product. They also call it by the name physical distribution. Now he has found the product in the store the customer has, and he will check the price. And he finds that this product is priced 10 to 15% higher than the product that he is currently using, which he feels is fine given the benefit that they have promised. So the pricing of the product should always be based on the benefit that the customer is associating with it. Once the purchase is done, the customer will go back home and he will start using the product. And as he is using the product, he is also evaluating the product. And what is this evaluation? He is basically trying to check if this is satisfying his requirement. His requirement would have been number one, fragrance, and second thing, what fog has promised, which is the long lasting effect. Now, if he is happy with this, he'll buy fog again, and he might also tell people that this is a fabulous product. If he is not happy, he will switch back to his previous brand, and he is more likely to tell people that this is a bad brand. Now, that is marketing for you. Let's look at this through a definition, and the definition is by American Marketing Association. They say that marketing is an activity or set of institution and processes for doing what? For creating, you remember how they created a product, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings. Right now they say offerings, and what is the peculiarity of these offerings? There should be a value for customers, clients, partners, or society at large. Now look back into the fog example. What did they do? When did they identify this value? They identified it through a research. So they went down to the customer, they asked what is it that they need or what is a problem that they're facing, and then they created a product based on that, communicated it properly so that customers were convinced, and delivered it, and also ensured that exchanging has happened. So take this as a summary. Please see that marketing is something which starts from the customer and it also ends with the customer. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed this video.